Welcome to the ultimate guide on how to study. This is coming from experience, and the best ways are to learn and absorb information. Going to be talking about different ways to revise, talking about how good they are in terms of helping you to revise. The way we revise is we break it down into learn the concept, understand the concept, and then we practice the concept. This is the order to learn a concept in the best way. Learning the concept is where you're learning the concept for the first time, where you are firstly starting to get a grip with the concept. Understanding the concept is when you're going back over it, doing revision before you move on to practicing the concept. Practicing is where you do past paper questions, practice questions, where you're practicing what you've learned and practicing the concept you've just grasped. When practicing a concept, you need to do harder questions as well as easier questions, because if you only do easy questions, you're just getting them right, you feel amazing, and you're not really challenging yourself. Whereas doing harder questions, as tough as they are, and they are going to stretch and challenge you, you will get things wrong. Also, you learn more doing the harder questions. Also, it helps to get the information into your memory much better doing harder questions as well as easier questions. Also, it helps going back over the easy stuff so you don't forget it as well. Striking a balance of easy and difficult questions is important. Also, doing a balance of passive and active revision. Like passive revisions, like rereading the textbook and your folder notes, and doing active revision is where you do flashcards, mind maps, blurting, past papers, all of that. To maintain focus, doing loads of different things can help. Doing history, where you're looking at famous people and dates, and then moving on to art, where you're being more creative, helps to maintain and sustain focus for a much longer period of time, and keeps it productive instead of being counterproductive. Whereas doing work for the sake of it is not very productive. When you make mind maps, doing little drawings which are relevant will help, rather than just doing mind maps with words. If you like making a key, put a key sign next to it and come up with a key so you know what's what. Flashcards add diagrams, that way you're not loading the flashcard with words. When revising, try and do your revision in chunks, then take a break. This helps to get the information into your head a lot better, because the brain is not then getting overtired. The chunks help to sustain and help you go on for longer, and the chunks of getting a concept is learning, understand and practice. Like I talked about earlier in the video, like they're the chunks to learning. If you do it in these stages, then you will learn the concept in the most efficient way possible, and also in the most logical way possible, because doing things logically makes things more effective. Learning is where you learn a concept when you are at the point of understanding, you're building on your knowledge and adding new stuff to your knowledge, like expanding on your knowledge. Pardon me. And then practicing is where you're practicing, like doing practice questions, blurting, all of that. Also, after you've practiced, then get feedback, like go to your teacher and ask for help if you have anything you need help on. And ask, how can I improve? Or, I'm stuck on this question, can you go through it with me? When practicing your past papers and blurting, they're like very good techniques for practice. Blurting is where you have a title, a concept, and blurt down what you know. Helps to test your knowledge and find out how you're doing, and helps to check if you're sustaining your knowledge and keeping it in your brain. Spaced out revision is important, giving yourself enough time to revise so it's effective, but not doing too much revision to the point where it's ineffective. And also taking breaks helps you remember the information better, because then your brain's absorbing it better. If you feel like you understand a concept, then you need to go back over it so you don't forget the information. This is so important to remember. Spending time on a concept a bit every day helps to sustain your knowledge and help you to continue to get more things right. Now we're going to talk about how effective some different revision methods are. Firstly, we're going to talk about rereading. Rereading's good for going back over things before you start your revision, so definitely not the best or the worst, it's sort of in the middle. Rereading is not the most taxing on the brain, it's not the most challenging type of revision. You're not really come up with your own thoughts, you're just reading a page. If you know 75% of the information, test yourself, then you know what information you've got wrong and what information you need to focus on more. It's also very passive. Talking to yourself and explaining it. It's good because you're having to dig deep into your brain to find the knowledge in your head. It is difficult because of that. Also, you have to explain easy and difficult concepts, which makes it hard. You could also teach a friend or a family member, also a pet. Blurting as well works well, I find. It works with lines in drama. Blurting as well, it helps to is active, and it helps to trigger your brain just by using keywords. It's difficult because it's taxing on the brain. I do talk about it in a video on how I revise drama and how I blurt, but I will do a video on blurting soon, just a fully dedicated video to it. It shows what you do and don't know, and then you can make corrections. Highlighting falls in with the rereading sphere. Very passive, but it's good to find quotes and good to highlight key information in the text. But it's also passive, so there are positives to doing it, but there are also negatives to doing it. Flashcards. Loads of people use flashcards. Unjaded Jade has a video if you want to know how to make flashcards, because I don't really do that. If you want to go check her out. Go with flashcards, condense the information down and be as concise as possible. And also with flashcards, make sure you use diagrams as well as words. Also, flashcards can help to space out your revision. It's difficult, but you can test yourself on your revision. Ask yourself questions and cover them up, see what you can remember. Note taking. It's difficult in the fact that you need to summarise and don't copy out your rough class notes. Condense them down, summarise them as well as neaten them up. Add diagrams and relevant drawings. Don't copy from the textbook because you don't really achieve anything. Come up with your own examples. It's not very difficult, but it's difficult in the fact you need to come up with your own examples. You need to add drawings and diagrams, and you need to condense the information down, and you need to not copy your class notes. Past papers, important. They actively test your knowledge. September and Easter, unless you have like mocks or exams before Christmas and that, you want to learn the content up until Easter, and after Easter practice questions, or for mocks in January do past papers. You also have a mock scheme so you can see what is right and what is wrong. You have to think. It is difficult. Also test your application and how well you can apply something. Next, we're going to talk about revision PowerPoints. They're harder than you think. Like, some people probably think it is passive. You have to condense the information down to the key information. You have to think, what's the key information? You have to be concise. Like, you can't just write an essay on a slide. Like, you have to space it out onto different slides. So the winners are blurting, practice papers, and revision PowerPoints. Just a little takeaway from this video: active and difficult revision is good because it's difficult and it taxes your brain, so it's like harder to do because you actually have to use your brain to do it. Also, doing difficult and easy revisions aren't good in the fact they combine together, like it's good to do a balance of both. Also, by doing active revision you can study smarter and work less. These are the components to revision learning. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye bye.